Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Monarchy podcast. Today we have another special guest, Cynthia Vega, and she's a business lawyer. This is going to be a really good one for anybody that's starting up a business. There's a lot of things that you should know that you don't, the information that you should know that it's not readily available. And Cynthia's going to help us out today, understanding why those things are important. Some of those things that we're going to be discussing are going to be trademarks, let me see, the franchise law, and things of that sort. So without further ado, wait, I always forget to.
Yeah, I'm not here. It's okay.
Yeah. Julie's here as usual.
I'm here.
And I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Cynthia so she could introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. This is my first podcast, so it's exciting. Thank you. So like you mentioned, I'm a business lawyer and I focus mainly on trademarks, franchises, and startups. So I help startups open up their businesses, expand them, and protect it and all sorts of stuff. So
I want to jump right in because I want to know how many business owners that are starting something up usually contact you before they have a problem and not after.
Yeah, so that's the main issue, right? We obviously want everyone to contact us before. And like I have clients call me and they're like, hey, so I'm interested in opening up this business. I'm not sure how to go about it. And which is great. And I'm like, the first step that you're doing is like contacting an attorney is the best thing you could be doing. Because, an attorney would know best on how best to open up your business, to protect it and, check mark all the things that you need in order to have a legal working business. So I would say that many people do take that jump, but then I get calls from individuals that want to open it. And they're like, hey, yeah, I'm interested. I'll give you a call next week, right? And they don't do it. And then they come back to me and they're like, hey, I decided to do this on my own, register this trademark, or did this with this individual, or with, what's that, LegalZoom.
Yeah, or some biz or something.
Yeah, and then, and I'm like, oh, it's going to come out more expensive for you now, So that's why I think that it's very important for you from the beginning to hire an attorney and have them do all this for you so that later on it doesn't, burn you in the behind and you end up having to pay a lot more than you originally would have. So, it's very important to hire a startup attorney, a business lawyer to tell you, hey, look, this is the kind of, for your business, you need an LLC or a corporation, or you should file under these taxes, or, these are the contracts that you need to have in place in order to protect you, when you're, with a partner or whatnot, non-compete, shareholder agreements, operating agreements, and I could go on forever with the different kind of contracts that should be in place for your type of business. And then trademarks. Oof, that's a big one. That's probably my favorite part of what I do, because that's the protection of your brand, which I like to call your baby, right? So,
and you've done that for us with our got damage.
Yes,
correct.
So.
And Monarch claims
the little R.
Logo.
That means he got it registered. So that's the difference between, in case you guys didn't know, the little TM and the R. The R is only when you have a registered trademark.
And the TM, what does it do?
So that's just telling everyone out there, hey, I intend to trademark this. Like you're putting like a claim on it, let's say,
okay.
And it's letting people know that that's something that the brand that you're using and that you intend to trademark it. So you just put the TM. But once you apply for the trademark and you have the certificate and it's registered, then that's when you can change it to the little R, which gives you authenticity. And
it's like a pending patent. Thing. Okay.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know with the got damage, we've had a few copycats in the public adjusting world that have tried to use something similar to us, and you've had to send them some cease and desist letters.
Yes.
Okay, so
that was fun. I kind of like
enjoy that.
It's like a slap in the face, like, yo, stop using my crap.
So that's one of the benefits of having a trademark is that you're able to tell copycats and individuals that are trying to, be like similar to you, hey, stop operating under that brand, that business, that slogan, and you're able to send them cease and desist letters. And another benefit of the trademarks is that, let's say that they wouldn't, if they don't cease and desist, right? They're still using it. Then the next thing we would do is file a lawsuit in federal court, and that's expensive.
Okay.
Any kind of lawsuit is expensive. But it's in federal court, and the good thing is that they'll be liable for treble damages, which is 3 times the damages, plus attorney's fees. So since in this case got damage, if we were to file a lawsuit against someone, he wouldn't have to pay the attorney's fees that he spent on me. The individual, the defendant, let's say, would have to. So.
Okay. Yeah, that was one of my questions was what would happen if they do not seize, using that trademark. So that would be the consequence of federal lawsuit.
Yeah. Okay. That's something, so if you do get a cease and desist letter and if you feel like you are infringing on someone's mark, I would advise to cease.
And this is for all of our copycats out there. You hear that? Yeah. This is your final warning.
Yeah, come up with your own stuff, man. What the hell?
And then hire Cynthia to trademark that for you.
Yes.
So when you trademark something or when you register, so trademark as the beginning of the process, or once it's registered, is it also considered?
Yeah, it's always called the trademark. Yeah.
Okay.
But once it's registered, it's a registered trademark.
Okay,
yeah.
it's officially registered.
Yeah, correct.
So are there different tiers? Because I know you could register locally in your state and then also in the whole country and then internationally, right?
Yes,
Is that correct?
Yes. So there's state trademarks, which will just cover you for the state. So example here, we're in Florida. So if we were to register with Sunbiz, the state of Florida, then it would just cover you here in Florida.
Okay.
But let's say, for example, you got damage. We ended up just registering here in Florida. That doesn't mean if somebody in California were to register federally, which is nationwide, then they can come to you and I'll tell you, hey, I need you to stop operating and like, let's say you were to move out of Florida, not move out, but like your services, you were to start providing your services out of Florida, you wouldn't be able to. You would still be able to still use it here in Florida since there's something called common law trademark rights, since you started using it before here. But anywhere else you wouldn't be able to. And then you'd get a cease and desist. Let's say you were to expand up to, New York or something. Gotcha. Then you'd get a cease and desist from that individual.
So maybe we should expand.
Hold on,
federally.
Because you use it as an example, but I think we're trade.
But no, it's a federal trademark.
What you got
is a federal. Yeah, that was just an example.
I was like, wait.
Yeah, like for example, if we would have just registered. Yeah. No, you're like, well, maybe.
No, I was like,
I kind of freaked out. I'm like, wait, what?
No. What you got is a federal trademark. So you're covered nationwide. So no one in the whole United States can use got damage.
Gotcha.
And then apart from the state registration, there's nationwide, which is the federal trademark, which is what we got here from Monarch. And then there's international, but it's not like just one application that we could submit and then it's all over the world. There's intricacies to it. There's something called the Madrid Protocol, which is kind of like an organization of different countries that join that, let's say, like group, and you can pay a fee, and then those organizations, those countries that are on that organization are covered under that trademark. Gotcha. And then certain countries aren't part of it, so you have to pay a separate filing fee and their process, and it's very costly. So I always advise, I'm like, hey, let's do the Madrid Protocol. Like, look at the countries. If this is we're going to offer your goods and services, let's do it there, and then you pay additional different countries if you're going to offer your goods and services there. But to get a trademark all over the world for all countries, and it would be very, very costly. But I mean, I've had people do it.
Gotcha.
And Madrid would be what? Tiene daños. We would.
I mean, in
Spanish,
Madrid, tiene daños. And then the 2 question marks.
Maybe we should trademark that one.
Here,
wait,
just in
maybe
Spanish.
You could even do it here in Spanish. I mean,
yeah.
But no, you don't have to though.
Yeah.
No, but you don't have to. Just so you know, because whenever you submit an application, let's say that John over here wanted to register Tienes Daños here, right? Not here, well, in the United States. The United States Patent and Trademark Office won't allow it because they do translations. So if it's another language, even if it's Italian, French, or whatever, they do it. They ask you what's the translation of that, and the translation of Tienes Daños is got damage, and they do research. They do a search under that in the database, and obviously yours is registered on there, so they wouldn't be able to.
Especially if it has like the same font and icons and things like that.
Yeah. But even not, but even then, just Tienes Daños with just the words, you know what I mean? No font. They wouldn't be able to, which is good for you guys,
Yeah. So, and now that you mentioned font, I know there's a difference, right? Where you could trademark the phrase itself, but you also have to trademark the font and just the design of it, right?
There's a word mark and design mark. So the word mark is, no fonts. Think of like Coca-Cola, just a word, right? Not italicized, no bold, nothing, just Coca-Cola. And then Coca-Cola with the red background and the white cursive letters, that's their word, that's their design mark. So that's That's the difference. It's this, there's one with no logos, no colors, no anything. It's just a straight word. And then the other one is whether it's, cursive, if there's any designs on it or anything like that. That's the design mark. So those are the two. And unfortunately, you would have to submit both under different applications. It's not like, hey, I have all these applications, these logos and these word marks. Can I just submit it under one? No, it's all separate applications.
So would someone be able to use, assuming that Coca-Cola does not have the design trademarked, right? Or the mark.
Yeah, they just have the logo. Let's say
they just have the word itself.
Okay,
right? Would someone be able to use Coca-Cola with a different design?
No, because there's some logos that have the mark on it, right? Okay. So Coca-Cola, even though it doesn't have a font, they own those words. Okay. Right. That's their words. Coca-Cola. They registered. They would be able to use it if they weren't offering beverages and whatever it is that Coca-Cola offers. Okay. So if they were to offer car washes, I don't know. But Coca-Cola is such a big corporation that I feel like they will still try to shut them down. Big companies like that, they'll try somehow to shut anyone down using it. But technically they shouldn't be able to, because they're offering different services and goods than what they've registered under. Gotcha. So that's the important part, is that you register under the goods and services that you're offering or what you intend to offer in the future. But yeah, no, it's to go back to your question, is that no, if they were to do a design, let's say with a blue and block letters, they wouldn't be able to, because they own the words. And when you submit an application for the logo, you have to write in a description of the logo, right? Of whatever it is and right there would have to add words Coca-Cola. Okay. You get me? So that's what the United States Patent and Trademark Office use to do a search of their data in their database, and they'll see that Coca-Cola is already taken.
Okay. I'm just wondering why it's important then to trademark the actual design of it, not rather than the
because
words.
For some it depends, right? Some don't have the words in their logos. Nike. Gotcha. Right? So think of Nike the word, and also Nike the check mark. So that's their logo, but then they also have the word, with the words right on it, like the shirt Nikes with Nike. But the importance of it is because that's the design that you've created, right? You don't want somebody else using something similar to that, even if it's without the words, and people are going to be confused by it. So for example, your mark, right? Monarch claims, let's say just the M, without somebody starts using just the M without Monarch claims. And they start offering similar services to you. They don't have Monarch claims, but consumers are going to get confused, and they can give you a bad rep. And let's say they give someone a bad experience, people are going to think it was you. Yeah. So that's why it's important to register also your logo, so that copycatters can't use anything that's confusingly similar or identical to it. Gotcha. And mess up your reputation, I'd say.
Okay. Sorry, I just had a quick question. What is the difference between a trademark and a trade name?
Okay. So a trade name is the business name. So what you register here in in Sunbiz or in your state. So that's the name of your business. And then the trademark is what you use on your goods or services. So not all, let's say Law Office of Cynthia or Vega LLC. That's my business. That's my trade name. But let's say I start offering T-shirts with my services, and I'm using Startup Now or something like that. That's the trademark.
Damage, like Monarch Claims Consultants, and then Got Damage. So Monarch Claims is a trade name. Got Damage is the trademark.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
And our logo would be a trademark as well.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So, and it's important to get all of those, properly registered.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
What's the cost to register something nationally? The words and the design.
So for each, so depends on who you.
And is that a bad question? I don't want to also put you out there if you don't want to discuss your fees or anything.
Yeah, because it really depends. That's the thing. Depending on how many. Okay,
or maybe a range.
So a range will go between 800 to 1,100, let's say. Okay. But that's including, at least for me, that's including filing fees. For one classifications. When you submit a trademark, you have to submit the class, for example, water bottles, right? That'll be class 1. Apparel is class 2. Car wash services is class 3. So when you submit an application, you have to submit what classes you're going to offer under that mark. So depending on how many classes you're going to offer under that mark depends on the price. So it really depends. So starting from like $850, let's say, it offers a filing fee and legal fees for a trademark. But now if you have a gazillion things under that mark, then obviously it's going to increase because they charge a filing fee for each classification.
Gotcha.
And obviously that would take more time on the attorney. So there has to be a little bit more of legal fees on there too.
Yeah. And for somebody that's starting up a business, that may seem like a lot of money, but when you see the value that it has and the peace of mind that you get, it's definitely something to consider, especially if you have like a really strong brand and something that you want to eventually grow.
Or that you've already worked on. Sorry, that you've already invested time and money working on, but you didn't invest the money in like registering it. Somebody else does, and that's it.
Yes, that's the scary part, right? Which is why I began with saying that I like to call everyone's business and their brand their baby, right? Because you nurture it, you take care of it, you want to, protect it, you want to grow it. So that's why it's so important to trademark, because the last thing you want is to spend all this money, all this time in branding it and expanding it.
Create, like designing.
Yes, all that. And then next thing you know, somebody in California send you a cease and desist letter saying, hey, I need you to stop operating in New York or stop selling online. You just stay in your state. And now you've lost, like you either have to start over or you have to stay in just Florida, let's say. So it's so important. That's one of the things that I tell individuals. I'm like, if this is a brand that you feel like you want to expand nationwide, then, put in some money, you be creative and try to raise some money in order to trademark this, to protect it. Cause that's the first step should be to trademark your stuff. Cause then the last thing you want is to have someone tell you to stop operating under or waste time and then wait a year later. And then somebody had already took the brand, the mark. So yeah, it's very important.
So aside from like trademarks and trade names and everything we talked about, why is it important for like a new business owner to hire a business attorney, like starting up their business? What other aspects, legal aspects should they be worried about?
So I've had clients come to me and they've been operating for like a year or so and they haven't even opened their company here in the state of Florida. They haven't incorporated, they haven't, they're just running like an online business or, or beauty industry or something, offering services. So for one, legal reasons, right? You don't want to get in trouble with the IRS. So it's important to speak to a business attorney so we can tell you, hey, look, according to your business, I think it's an LLC works for you, a corporation. Another reason is to put contracts in place so that you can protect yourself, protect your employees, protect between you and your partners. I've seen brotherhoods, like two brothers join a business and then they didn't have a contract. Now they're like, wanting to sue each other and it's he said, she said. So it's important to have a contract in place where it says, hey, like I own this percentage, you own this percentage. These are your duties. These are my duties. Because, a contract is a legal binding agreement and there, you can offer that in front of the court and say, hey, this is what we agreed on. He failed to do this or vice versa. Yeah. So definitely have, non-competes, non-disclosure agreements. If you have, if you're someone with an idea and you want to start talking to investors or, bring in a new partner, it's important to have non-disclosure agreements. Because if not, then they could just go ahead with your idea and run with it and do it themselves. So contracts, again, trademarks, right? So I can speak to you about your brand. So I can explain to you the importance of what a trademark, like how a trademark works for the branding, the idea that they have. Because, these individuals come excited, right? They're like, hey, I have this idea. I want to open this business. I know I already, like they come to me saying, hey, I've already sold I for 24 hours and I've sold, 100 of this. So I'm like, hey, that's awesome. You have like a good business here. So then that's when I explain to him or her, these are the steps that you should take and in order to protect their business and do it appropriately.
Okay. That's good to know. As a potential business owner, for new business owners, current business owners, anybody, there's so many aspects that you don't know that you need to, protect your business from.
Yeah.
So what is like franchise law? Is that like just what I think of like as a franchise? Like you purchase a franchise or it's something totally different?
No, it's exactly that. It's franchise. So it's when you're ready to expand. So,
if you're getting your franchise, your business, not if you're buying into a franchise.
No, that too.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had clients where they want to expand their business or that they're interested in purchasing a franchise. So anything a franchise. So I have a client that's, you know, their restaurant business, and now they're interested in franchising their business because, you know, it's growing, it's expanding. Instead of doing license agreements, they want to go ahead and start franchising and offer franchise. It's a huge step. And there's something called the financial disclosure document, which is like a huge document, which is basically, think of it as a business plan, which is like, if you're interested in opening a franchise for this restaurant, let's say, that document's going to explain to you, you know, how you should run it, the numbers, the rules. Like, it's a huge, huge document for it. So franchising, yeah, for when I do franchise law, it's to help people establish their franchise, or if they want to buy into a franchise, if they want to sell a franchise, and all this fun stuff.
Is that something that you recommend? Somebody buying a franchise?
So it depends on, it depends on if they're not interested in opening up their own business and starting something from the ground up. A franchise is a good idea because they basically have everything set up for them already. All they have to do is now, let's go back to the example of a restaurant, right? All they have to do is now look for the location, and then they have everything. The business plan is already all done. You know, they don't really have to brainstorm on how this restaurant should be done. Where can I get the food? How do I do this? You know, everything's already set up for them. So if that's something that you're like, you want to own your own business, but you don't want to do it from the ground up, a franchise is a good idea.
Would we, as Monarch, be able to franchise what we do as adjusters? I haven't even thought about that. It just occurred to me now.
Yes, but then depends on, the thing is, you'd want to keep it here in Florida, only because every state, I'm sure I'm not really sure with public adjustment, I'm sure every state has different rules and regulations and laws and stuff.
Some are reciprocal, but for the they do differ.
So
not
in
exactly
that case, it can't be like a copy and paste, right? So it really, for restaurants, the only laws would be like zoning laws and things like that, which are very minuscule, let's say. But with laws, when it comes to like public adjusters, like lawyers, things like that, there's different laws in different states. So it's not like a copy and paste that you can do in different states. I mean, you could franchise here in Florida because it's the same law, but I don't think it'd be like a good franchise business.
Gotcha. Okay, Cynthia. So I want the viewers to get to know you a little bit more on the personal side, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
You were born and raised in Miami.
Yes.
But your parents are from Nicaragua.
Yes, that's correct. I'm hardcore Nicaragüense. And I only say that because, my parents are born and raised in Nicaragua. They came here when they were, I want to say my dad was 30. So, you know, all the roots of Nicaragua, the Nica food, fritangas, if you guys know what queso frito and all that good stuff is. Carne asada, like I grew up in all that. So, but I was born in Hialeah, actually. I came here.
Wow.
Look at that. We have something in common.
Let's not talk crap about Hialeah today.
I came here to Kendall when I was 8, and then I've been here since.
Okay. Do you have any family members that are attorneys?
My grandfather was actually an attorney in Nicaragua, but I recently found that out. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. How the heck did I not know that? But that's it. No one else here. I'm the first attorney, I guess, from this generation, from like my brothers and my cousins and stuff. I'm the only attorney.
Why law? What made you decide? Or
well, before we get to law, because a little bit of research here, and
stalking. That's what I called it.
No, it's called research.
I laughed.
And I know you got your bachelor's in criminal justice and psychology, but then you went for your Juris Doctor. Did you always know that you wanted to end up in law school, or were one of those two paths like?
Yeah. So at first, I wanted to be in the FBI, actually. So that's why I did criminal justice. I was interested in the FBI. I always liked everything like criminal. But then I realized that, you know, you have to be very secretive when you're in the FBI. And I'm like, you know, for my future, like with my husband, like I feel like that's hard, you know? So I decided when I did criminal justice, I was taking the courses. And then one of my cousins ended up passing away. And that decided, and to this day, they don't know how he passed away. It's not going to go into the details of it. He was a police in Boca Raton. And to this day, I guess that made me just, hey, you know what? Like, I would love to be able to like open up a case and determine like what happened, like open a lawsuit against the department because there was a bunch of like fishy stuff. So that made me realize, hey, you know, like I want to be the voice for the people that don't have a voice, you know, for any people that have like any defendants. So I just wanted to be able to defend because there are some claims against my cousin. So it made me want to go into defense and become a defense attorney. So that's when I was like, hey, let me look into it. And I took some classes, some law classes, because the criminal justice class, you can take some law classes. And I took some law classes in FIU, and it interested me a lot, and I liked it a lot. So I decided to be like, in my head, I was like, I want to be a defense attorney. That's what I want to do. So I decided to go into law school, and I changed my mind. I didn't like I was like, criminal law? I took a criminal law class, and I was like, no. And what kept following me was business. That's the last thing I wanted to do, honestly.
Yeah.
I ended up taking a business association class, and I rocked it. I got an A in it, and I was just like, oh, it keeps following me. My dad's a business owner. My brother's a business owner. There's just business owners all around me. And then I ended up falling once I got an A in that class. That was towards the last semester. I ended up finding a mentor that did businesses. That was a business lawyer, and I loved it. I loved it about it, and I knew I always wanted to own my own firm. So it almost like went hand in hand, right? Like I'm like, oh, being an entrepreneur myself and helping entrepreneurs. So just the world of entrepreneurship and the world of, I guess, making your dreams come true, because a business is your dream, right? Being your own boss and building on this idea I fell in love with. So that's how I ended up in business law, and here I am, and I love it. I know it's very cliche.
No, everybody finds their path somehow, and I'm glad you found yours.
Yeah, thank you. But because I know I have some friends, not friends, but like people that I know, that I guess acquaintances that have gone into law, and it wasn't what they thought it would be, which is unfortunate. But I want to say that I love what I do. I absolutely love what I do. I like it a lot, like especially the business part of it.
Does being an attorney give you a sense of and this is a personal question as well, a sense of power in a way, because you're better at interpreting the law?
I guess in business deals, yeah. It would kind of give me, right, like a pan in that, because if I were to enter into kind of business deal with somebody else, and I know how to, like you said, like interpret the law. I know how to interpret certain contract clauses. I know if I read a contract, I know where the loopholes are. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, oh, I know I can. This little clause right here is going to bite me in the butt, and they don't know that I know that. So in that aspect, I want to say, yeah.
Yeah. But not in a general aspect, as far as like maybe,
like buying a car or something.
Or,
I don't know, or
getting away from a ticket or.
Yeah, but no, because that's all different kind of like my focus is business law, So if I would have done criminal law, then yeah, I'd be like, oh, okay, I know that if I were to do this, then I can get away, but I mean, since I don't focus on that, I mean,
you can still sue them though.
Yeah.
Whoever it is.
And then that advantage too, that I'm able to, like, if something happens, I'm like, hey, I could sue you and I don't have to hire an attorney. I represent myself.
On legal fees. So.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
Don't mess with me.
As a business owner yourself, what would you say is or has been one of your biggest struggles?
Definitely working on my business and working in my business. There's a difference, right? So since running my firm as a business owner, when you own your business, you have to do the work of marketing, finding clients, establishing the finances, all that stuff, right? But also I'm the lawyer, so I actually have to do the work. I have to do the contracts, I have to do the trademarks, I have to meet with the clients, I have to do all that. So my biggest struggle has been juggling both. I sometimes get stuck on just working in my business and not working on my business. Like I haven't, been advertising enough, like marketing enough, creating videos. Like I have on my to-do list to create a podcast, to, start doing videos on IG, create a YouTube channel, all this stuff. But then it's difficult while at the same time getting the work done. So it's my fault, because at that point you should delegate, and you should be able to, start hiring someone in order to delegate that work so that you can work on the other stuff to grow your business. So that's something on this year's, my goal is especially now with my 6-month-old, learning to do, running a business, working on my business, and now being a mommy. I'm like, no, it's too much. So I'm like, it's to a point that I'm going to start delegating, and that way I can focus more on expanding and growing my business.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So are you like a one-man band right now?
Yeah,
or?
yeah,
Okay,
I am.
perfect.
I am.
So,
Especially with after COVID. I did have an assistant, but after that, then I had to let her go. So then now I'm working, remotely from home because with the baby. And then COVID happened, so it's been a unique and fun time.
Do you feel like your practice is something that you can eventually scale, or do you think it'll always, because of the nature of the business, not so much you, that it'll always, be kind of something small and boutique?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. It's up to me really, because I can just delegate and I can just hire right now, like let's say a third-year law student to help me with certain stuff, right? And start with that, and then eventually, it's an intern, and then I can hire her or him as an associate, and then from there it's 2, 3. Because the more that I can give away work, and they can do, let's say I hire a recent attorney. And I say recent only because if I get, an attorney that's been practicing for 6 to 10 years, it's going to be a huge salary that they're going to want. So let's say I get a recent attorney, a graduate. I delegate my work, the work that I get. Hey, I need you to do this contract, this trademark, blah, blah, blah. At the same time that he's doing or she's doing this work, I'm able to create content and, create stuff that's going to grow my business, which is going to in turn bring more clients. So more clients, more work. I can hire 2 people and I can do more, so it's really up to like what I want, my goal. And I do eventually want to definitely expand. I do love working on my business and doing the trademarks and the contracts. It's fun to me. But I know eventually I'm going to have to, delegate that and go out there but that's the thing. It's so weird with COVID now, right? There's really not like networking events, like you back in the day, you'd go, not back in the day.
it feels like
back in 2019. It really does. You'd be going to events and you're networking, taking people out, meeting for lunch, things like that. And now it's your networking is social media. So
Correct.
It's all about creating content. So that's and that takes time.
Yeah,
so
it does.
My goal, like I mentioned, is to delegate so I can create a bunch of content and be very active on social media, so that I can bring in more clients.
We have a project coming up, and it's going to be to use our resources in our studio to help people like you that want to create content.
Nice.
So putting that out there for all the viewers and anybody who's watching who's interested in possibly using this studio and our equipment and our guys.
Or being a guest on our podcast as well.
That as well. So,
okay.
Just keep that in mind whenever you're getting ready to get started.
Definitely.
Maybe like the first 1 or 2 projects, we'll give you a little discount there, just like you've helped us. So
she'll have to read that contract over though.
Yeah.
There you go.
I saw you also. I read a couple of your blog entries. Is that something that you're also, interested in pursuing, like the blogging?
Yes, and that's an example of what I mean. Like start blogging again, start doing things that will help expand the business. But I've been having a hard time finding the time. And again, I know it's not an excuse, but with the baby and being at home, it's very hard. Like before, like, hey, daycare, and things like that, like find someone. But now with COVID, it's like I don't even think daycares are open. Are they open daycares? I don't even know.
I think
so.
They are.
Are they?
Yeah.
But still,
But
right?
yeah,
that's not going to happen. So I've been at home juggling all that. But yeah, that is something that I do want to, because I love educating. That's one of the things that I love about what I do. Like I tell my clients, I'm like, look, if you sit with me and if you, sorry.
You're good.
And if you leave this room and you don't hire me, I'm like, but you learn something from this meeting, that's what makes me happy. Like I love educating. Like I love teaching them what they should do, what they shouldn't do. So that is one of my passions. It's writing, like creating content to educate the viewers and stuff. So yeah, that is something that I would want to start doing.
And we're kind of on the same note about the education thing, because that's one of our goals here with this that we're doing is to just show people not only what different industries have to offer for anybody that's looking to start something new, but we also discuss what we do because it's so important. It's insurance. It's something that you need and something that protects your biggest assets.
Absolutely.
And there's people numerous, like I can't even put a number to it, that are walking around either uninsured or poorly insured. there's a difference between being insured and being properly insured.
And uneducated.
Yeah.
Most important.
Correct. Yeah. And people need to know when they can, use their coverages or when they apply. They don't need to know a full policy word by word, but they need to have at least a basic idea of when they should use their insurance. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah. And that's the issue with insurances, right? That's like everyone's like, whoa, they don't understand it. So that's good that you're trying to educate individuals.
Yeah, and really it's simple. I mean, leave the in between the lines to us, to the experts, but at least know when you should, seek the help of a professional, or when a claim, or when you have a potential claim. So you can at least reach out to the expert. You know what I'm saying? So, so yeah, education. That's
Definitely.
we're on there as well. I want to do now. You have another question?
Oh no, I just wanted to bring up something, and it was a quote that I read from her that I really liked, and I wanted to read it and see if this is something that you still live by. I don't know if you want to read it or you want me to read it. Here, where it says to business owners.
Okay. Business owners, wake up this morning and read these aloud with me. Every morning I like to wake up, pray, and say affirmations. What you pray about and declare with your mouth will find you. Be careful how you use your tongue. Your tongue is a powerful weapon. Speak only great things into your life. So yeah, that's definitely something I do every morning. Is that something
you still live by?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe in, the law of attraction and speaking into existence. So
yes, absolutely.
I really like what?
Yeah.
I do. Yes, I do. And I saw this and it really,
resonated with you.
You know what the law of attraction says, right? Like that you put it out there into the universe and it just happens.
And it just happens.
Without working for it?
Not without working for it, but
that's what it implies.
No, to me, it's like if you put your mind to something, obviously you have to work for it, but you can work for something. And if I feel like your energy is not there, it's not going to happen. Doesn't matter how hard you work for it. So I do believe in that, like law of attraction and speaking into existence. So this, really spoke to me. And I was wondering if this is something that you still, and this is directed to homeowners, but it is, very important what you speak and say. So this year, yes, you will create your, your content, for social media and all of that. Okay.
Yes, because a lot of times, I guess we say things and we say kind of like negative, right? Or we're just like, we can't, or I don't know. So we have to be affirmative, right? We have to say things in a positive way, declare it, believe it, think it. Because if not, then the mind's very strong, and the tongue too. Like I said here, whatever you speak will come into life. So that's why it's very important to speak positive stuff.
I think when you verbalize it has a psychological effect, and it becomes something rather than just an idea. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like telling yourself, I don't necessarily agree that it will come just by saying, which is not what you said. It's not what you said, but that's what the law of attraction sort of says.
No, but I feel like if you work towards something and you're constantly like, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm
like negative Nancy's.
It's not going to work.
Exactly.
It's not going to work.
Exactly.
Yeah, like negative Nancy's. If you're positive about something, like, I'm going to get, I'm going to win this. I'm going to do this. We're going to get this. Like being positive, like you said, it's like an energy, like it's like a positive, like an energy, right? Where you're just like, like you're just more positive. You're like more motivated. So yeah, it's definitely
unconsciously.
But you definitely have to work for it. It's not just gonna. Fall out of the sky.
But it can go not with just working stuff, but things like looking yourself in the mirror, saying like, I'm beautiful, I'm confident, I am, like all, like you said, subconsciously that eventually you'll believe it, right? And then for people that have issues with like self-esteem and things like that, so it's important to speak beautiful things upon your life.
Yeah, I agree, and thank you for that. I think a lot of people need to hear that more often than not, especially nowadays. That people are so easily influenced by others' opinions.
Or discouraged by like social media.
Yes, definitely. Which sometimes they're lies, some social media is like the pictures they're beautiful pictures, but then behind the images, it's not as happy as they seem. So it's important to just be happy for yourself and within yourself and find the happiness in you and not in anyone else. I'm
thinking, as you were speaking here, I'm thinking about a few posts that I've done lately. I always put a filter, just to smooth out the face a little bit. But I've been thinking of putting no filter.
No filter, but with a filter.
Like a really bad filter where it shows that it's filtered. Be like, no filter.
No filter. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly. Let's not fool people into that.
To the lies.
Yeah. All right. I want to do what I like to call a rapid fire, is a quick session of quick questions.
Okay, fun.
Yeah, but there's one that's not here. And I'm going to ask it.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. your teeth are so white. What's your
I'm like,
Crest white strips, but I haven't done it in years.
so it does work.
Yeah, absolutely. But I haven't done that in years. And so
That's
cool.
awesome.
Thank you for saying they're still white.
Yeah.
And brushing like everywhere, right? Brushing your teeth, flossing, going to the dentist. But yeah, Crest white strips, but I did it years ago. It could also be, I always get toothpaste with like something that says whitening.
Yeah. I did that once, and I guess my teeth are a little sensitive, so the pain afterwards was crazy.
Oh,
Like it
no.
was like a pulsing pain.
The white strips?
Yeah.
Oh.
And the whitening too. Like
The
I did
white, yeah.
oh my God. I spent like the whole day drinking Advil just to,
Oh
So,
no,
that's
don't
why-
do that again.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
never again.
Just use a
I'll
filter.
Yeah.
use the filter and
And just say natural white teeth.
exactly.
Born like this.
All right. If you weren't an attorney, what would you be?
That's a tough one. Because again, like I mentioned, I really love what I'm doing. And I mentioned I hate that my answer sounds so cliche because people are like, I love what I'm doing and doing my passion, but I really do love it. Like when I help a client, like I'm so happy. But if I wasn't an attorney, it'd have to be something with children because I love kids. So maybe a teacher.
Maybe a teacher?
Yeah, maybe a teacher because I love, again, educating
Right,
and I
yeah.
love children. So this is the first time I've ever even said this and thought about it. But yeah, I guess.
Okay.
Speaking of children, we know that you recently gave birth.
Yes.
Dominic, right?
Dominic
Is his name?
Alexander.
How old
He's
is
6
he?
months old.
6 months.
Yes.
Okay. And you're gonna have like 3 or 4 more, right? You said?
Right. No, we definitely want another one. So we'll probably maybe next year. Not sure. But we definitely want like 2 or 3. We'll see after the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I used to say after I had the second one, and it was hell. And then I said, no more. All right. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Okay.
You're an Android?
No.
No.
No, please.
No.
Who has an Android?
Andre has an
Andre.
Android.
Android.
It would have been interesting though if she had, your
Yeah.
response if she had said Android.
I don't know. It's just about something about those green messages.
Yeah.
Just- I know, first world problems. I know, but I mean, all right. What's the best piece of advice you have received?
So it's actually from my husband. He said to schedule out your day. Don't let your day run you. Because if you don't schedule out your day, then your day runs you. Meaning, you're reactive. So if something happens, like, I'll do it when this happens. And then your day just crumbles. So if you wake up, like I mentioned, you wake up, you pray, you do what you want to do, you do yoga, whatever it is the case. And then you plan out your day. So that way, there's some sense of satisfaction at the end of the day when you've checked off, that list of things you've done. Because if not, then if you're just going around the day, then the day's going to run you.
Yeah.
So definitely plan out your day. And yeah.
Okay.
And if you write things down, it also gives you a sense of relief to have those things in front of you.
100%. That's
And checking them off,
Yeah.
it's like,
accomplishment.
I
short
write everything
goals.
down because my mind is everywhere.
yeah.
So in the mornings I write down the things I need to do, and then throughout the day I'm like, okay, I did this. Even if something small, right? Like make sure you wash the dishes and put this or whatever. I don't know. You just, and then like you said, at the end of the day, you don't feel useless. Like you've
Exactly.
accomplished something.
Yeah, you can physically
Yeah.
see, you can see what you've done.
Mhm.
I just noticed something. Sorry. Are you a lefty?
No, but
Oh, okay.
I just couldn't.
Because I saw her with the left. Because we're both lefties. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that would be cool. If we had all lefty. But sorry, never mind. I saw her with
I actually love lefties.
the
I think it's
pencil.
so pretty. I don't know why.
Really?
I've always wanted to be a lefty.
That's what my husband said. And then he said the next best thing was marry one. So
Hey.
because he couldn't be a lefty. All right, sorry.
Wait, I want to make a comment about the whole writing down thing.
hmm
I usually do that, right? And write down things, but at the end of the day, I have like 3 more pages of things that I. So
They
I
just
think
carry over.
I'm one of those people that the day runs me instead of me running the day.
Yeah. Well, things
Um,
come up, things come up, but then it's more like for people that don't have like a schedule or don't have anything, like they just, okay, I'm going to wake up and whatever comes, I'm going to do it, or like I'll go to the gym after this. No, like set a time, set a schedule. So that way your day's organized and you're not, it will cause stress if you don't. So
It does. Okay, so what was your worst subject in school?
I want to say science. I've never liked science.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. It never took science and history. But now it's funny because now I think back, like when when I was younger and I took history, I didn't like it. But now it's interesting to me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, this is what history. What do you mean? So maybe it's just like an immaturity thing. I don't know. But science still not my thing. I don't know.
Science,
I don't know.
it's all around us. Technology.
Yeah, you
World.
see, that doesn't interest me. Like, no, zero
No.
interest. No.
All right, you should have an Android. No.
Oh.
Just kidding.
You skipped the question though.
I did?
Number 4. I always
Oh.
have to throw a vacation question in there.
Yeah. What does your dream vacation look like?
That's funny. Because yesterday, with this question, I was like, what is my dream vacation? I'm like, I guess for some reason I've always liked, I've never
Sorry,
gone.
Law of attraction. She was thinking about that yesterday. And look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Go ahead.
And I was just like, I guess Ireland, which is so weird because what's in Ireland? Not sure, but maybe it's the greenery of it. But if it's not Ireland, it'll be this is so corny. But I love cuddling, putting on a show like Netflix, and I'm a foodie. I love, eating. So I'm like anywhere if I'm with my husband, watching TV and eating, I'm like, will be cool. I'm very laid back. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Sounds like quarantine was your perfect vacation then.
It really was. But I had the baby. So
Yeah.
February 20th, he was born. So there's not much relaxing.
Cool. Cynthia, thank you so much for being on here with us. It's been really great. I think the information that you brought today is going to be of a lot of value to everybody or anybody that watches. So I really appreciate
Thank you for having me.
you taking the time.
Yeah. And for all the potential business owners, can you share your website and your Instagram
Yes.
if you have one?
So my website is www.cynthiavegalaw.com. My Instagram is Cynthia Vega Law, and my Facebook is Cynthia Vega Law.
Okay. And we'll share those on here too.
Was this by the way, and I want to say on air that we popped your podcast, Cherry.
Cherry,
We have to start
yes.
announcing that. We don't have
Yeah,
the bell.
we
so-
need
This
a
was
bell.
my first
Yeah.
podcast.
How was it?
It was a lot of fun. It
Was it a lot of fun?
Having talk. Yeah, we're just talking. It's a good
Okay.
time.
There
You guys
go.
made it very easy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Or you're
you.
welcome back anytime. So
Thank you.
and next time we'll pop a bottle as well.
Yes.
Yes. The 30-day. Sorry about that. I know. That's a mood kill. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate everybody watching. Please subscribe. Please comment. Let us know how we're doing. And I'll catch you on the next one.